You're thinking about buying a lake house at Sinclair here in Georgia. That's amazing, but trust me, it's not just like buying any other home. There are Georgia Power rules, septic system regulations, dock permit, and even the different types of ownership that you need to know about before you buy. I'm Nick, your trusted real estate advisor, and in this video, I'm walking you through the step-by-step guide to buying a lake home here the right way, so you can enjoy the lake life stress-free and confident. Now, let's start with a quick overview. Lake Sinclair is a man-made reservoir controlled by Georgia Power. That means you're not just buying a house, you're buying access to a lake that's managed by a utility company. And that's important because it affects what you can and can't do with your shoreline, dock, and property. Now, it's still one of Georgia's most affordable lakefront markets, but with that affordability comes the need to do some homework, and that's where I come in. Now, to get you grounded, there are a few different types of lakefront properties at Lake Sinclair. For instance, there's fee simple ownership. This is where you own the land and the home, and this is usually the most desirable and cleanest setup. And there's also leasehold and Georgia Power lease lots. This is where you own the house, but you lease the land from Georgia Power. This comes with restrictions and annual fees. And there's also a third type, which is off-water properties with lake access. These are generally more affordable and often part of communities with shared docks or ramps. Finally, there's what we call a Georgia Power access strip. This is where you own the lot, fee simple and outright, but you pay $100 a year to access a strip of land between the house and the water. Now, that's a lot of categories, but when working with me, I'll make sure that you understand exactly what type of ownership you're dealing with and how it affects resale, financing, and how you can build or otherwise renovate. Now, this part surprises a lot of first-time buyers. Georgia Power doesn't just provide electricity. They also control the shoreline at Lake Sinclair. This means if you want to build, repair, or even clear brush near the water, you need permission. We're talking about docks, seawalls, dredging, tree removal, and even putting in a little patio by the lake. And here's the catch. If the property already has a dock or seawall, it's not automatically good to go. If it wasn't permitted correctly or the paperwork was missing, you could be responsible for fixing it or even removing it. I've seen buyers fall in love with a house only to find out that the dock isn't up to code and can't be replaced, and that's a tough surprise. So before you buy, I'll help you. Confirm the dock has an active permit, make sure you know what's allowed if you ever want to expand or rebuild, and get your hand on the shoreline lease and have it reviewed. Because the last thing you want is to show up with a boat and find out that there's nowhere to keep it legally. Here's one of the biggest deal breakers at the lake, and by the way, it's not glamorous. Most homes out here are on septic systems, and if that system isn't working properly, it can cause serious problems. Not just expensive repairs. We're talking potential delays at closing, health department headaches, and even being told you can't expand your house or add bedrooms down the line. So before you go under contract, we're checking, is the septic system permitted and up to code? When was it last pumped or inspected? What's the tank size? Can it support the home as is or for your future plans? And is it far enough from the water to meet regulations? A bad septic system can cost thousands to replace. And worse, you might not be able to fix it the way you want to. And that's why it's one of the first things I dig into when helping buyers, because nobody wants that surprise right before closing. Now let's talk about docks, because let's be real, that's why most people are looking for a lake home. But here's what a lot of people don't know. Just because you see a dock doesn't mean it's legal, permanent, or usable the way that you want. At Lake Sinclair, Georgia Power has some very specific rules around dock size and materials, how far they can extend into the water, distance from the neighbor's dock, where electrical hookups are placed, and whether you're in a cove or open water. And there's only certain types of docks allowed. For instance, single slip floating docks, double slips which usually need approval. If you buy a home assuming you can build a big party dock or upgrade an old one, and it turns out you can't, you're gonna be disappointed. That's why I make sure we double check permits, understand the site's limitations, and find out what's realistic and possible before you fall in love with a home. Because at the lake, a dock isn't just a feature, it's a deal maker or a deal breaker. So, in summary, buying a Lake Sinclair home is a unique experience with its own challenges and concerns. There's permits, leaseholds, boat traffic to consider, well and septic issues, and even zoning laws if you plan to rent it out. So that's where I come in, handling 1,000 details and complications so you can focus on the fun stuff, like figuring out which side of the lake has the best restaurants, where the fishing spots are, and what kind of views you want to wake up to in the morning. So if you're dreaming of that lake life at Sinclair, let's talk. You can find my contact info in the description below, and I offer free buyer consultations, virtual or in-person tours, access to off-market and upcoming listings, and expert guidance to make your home purchase smooth and smart. Drop your questions in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos about lake life in Georgia.